This is one of my own watches. I bought this in a collection from a longtime friend a while ago. It's original, it's unrestored. This is a JDM Speedtimer, 6139, 6032 in this case. They made 6030, 6031, 6032. Much in the same way in the 6000 fives, they had 6000, 6001, 6002. What's curious about this to me, there's a couple things. It's original. It may have had a service hand, I'm not sure. It's got a one-piece hand. It's a proof dial. Typically proof dials are going to have a two-piece hand, the early style, an A movement, and a matching proof back. I'd swear this watch is unrestored. Might be service hands, I don't know. But the case back, these are old dirty things for taking things apart, don't mind that. The case back matches the rest of the watch and is from March 1971. That is right when it went from proof to resist. It was right at the same time that the True Pogues came out, and they were marked resist. They were transitioned from the 6000, 6001s to proofs to the resists. So we get a mismatch. Dial says proof, caseback says resistant, which is weird. There are some people who say, oh, well, at the transition, you know, you would get mix and matches. I don't know that that's true. I've never seen anything. I've never seen any proof for that. So I'm curious. It's possible that this is a service caseback. Such things did exist, and they would be marked with current stuff, but I don't know about the serial number. That doesn't make sense. So we're going to see. It's a little faded. These hands are supposed to be orange. Lume's a little grayed out, not much. Case is original. It had the Aussie style Stellux bracelet. You can tell by the marks of the end links. I don't think I have another one around here that I can show you to compare. The marks on the back of the case where the case backs, where the lugs would sit for a regular one, the marks are down here. These are the kinds of marks that you see for like a standard set of non-Stellux end links. Because the Stellux end links are longer. They're these big long things and they wear down here. These are up here. So that's kind of curious. I'm just kind of not sure what we're going to find or what the situation is with this. So it's a Saturday. I want to take a break and I want to look at this and I want to see what the story is. So let's rip it apart. Let's see what we can find. I haven't opened this, I don't believe. I have no idea what's in it. In theory, with a proof dial, in theory, it should be the True Pogues that were made at this time all came with a one-piece sweep. But the first couple of months of production, they still had A movements before moving to the B's. So I'm going to be curious to see if that is what we get here. I just want to, darn it, I want to protect this case back before I go and try and crank it open. I don't know how hard it's going to be. Not hard at all. I didn't even need to get my protective wrap out. bright and shiny. No marks on the inside. That's old. That's old. It's flexible, but barely. That's old. Look at that. It's got its red text, JDM 21 joule movement, and it looks like it's got an A. And sure enough, it is an A. We can tell because right here, see this post? This structure here, which holds this pin, that's the hammer. That resets the chronograph to 0. On a B, this is slotted because it's eccentric, and you can turn it to adjust how the face is hit. A's did not have that functionality. So it's a proof with an A movement. We know that for a fact. What is that? It's like old scunge, old grease. That just sat there until it turned to nothing or something. We'll see how that cleans up. Okay. Well, as they say, nothing to it but to do it. Yeah, I've been going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth on doing this watch. I've really wanted to, but I just have so many other things I need to do. That was loose. That was okay. Doesn't look bad. Look at that. Not many miles. When these are really worked, this right here underneath where the magic lever, the pawl lever turns, gets worn to brass. It's dirty, but it looks okay. You have to individually clean those. Okay, there's that. Right now I'm letting down the mainspring, and I'm doing that by going over here to this little slot cutout, and I pry that spring forward. And it lets off our mainspring. Come on. No spring. That's interesting. And the gasket is ancient. It is get out. 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 Damn it. Out. 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 Fine. Stop being fancy about it. Get out. Also, no spring. Wonder why the springs are gone. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that wild? Wonder why the springs are gone. Okay, well, I'm going to have to break those old gaskets off of there because they're certainly garbage. Okay. Now, this is my peculiarity in how I do things. I like to pull the balances. I like to do as much as I can with the movement still in the case, but that's probably wrong. It's what I do. I keep doing it because it's what I'm used to. Doesn't mean it's right. It's just what works for me. I have a tendency to figure out one way to do things. Gosh darn it, would you come out? And then not changing my ways. Out. Okay, now, yep, it's intact. Seal is flattened, it's hard as plastic. We'll have to crack that off of there. Candy penny doesn't feel bad. Three minutes after midnight, that's not bad. It's almost directly to midnight. Just a little off there, something that little. You can adjust a couple different ways. You can just try to reset the hand tube a little bit, but also the chronograph wheel has an eccentric screw. Those I try not to mess with, but that's how you do that kind of fine thing. Loom is definitely grayed out some. We'll make that a little brighter. I'll put these back to orange. Okay, I am going to get the hands off. If I can find my hand puller, wherever the heck I put it. Oh gosh, if it isn't just right in front of me. Okay. Biggest thing with pulling hands like these, especially the main sweep, is you gotta pull straight up and down. You can't twist, you can't turn, you can't do any of that stuff. Because if you do that, you can twist the hand tube, which will screw up your alignment. There's that. both of them at once. This is just static that's making this stuff cling. Look at that. That's original, though. See how tight and thin that hand loom is? That's original. Okay, gotta get that little one down there. Did I get her? You off? Yes, I did. Good. Here it is. There's our teardrop. Got that one out. So now, here's the big mystery. Okay, here's the big mystery. In fact, let me get this ready to go. There. And hand, screw. It goes here. There's our case back. I want to look at that dial date. It's not necessarily going to tell us everything, but it'll tell us something. Okay. Okay. What date is that? What does that say? January 71? Is that 1/1? Yeah, it looks, right now it looks like January 71 to me, which would put it right. It would, that's a little early, but that would work. That's not unheard of. Which confuses me. I've never seen anything. I can't remember the last time I saw a watch where you had this kind of a mismatch from the factory. I mean, how do you prove something like that? But let me get this out here. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that caseback says, I'm sorry, the dial date is January 71. There's no service mark on the inside that I can see. Because if it went through a Seiko service center, it'd have a big old ink stamp in there. It looks brand new. Weird. Okay, so now it is time to rip the movement apart. It's in really nice shape. Okay, well, I say let's keep ripping it apart. Oops. Put that there, put that there. There's that. Make sure we're on screen here. All right. Let me clean that and we'll see. Loose. 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 So here's part of the A movement thing, is they'd have, this is the intermediary minute counting wheel right here. On the first, these early ones, it's staked directly to the bridge. In the B's, it became a separate component, in part because there's a large surface area underneath and around this wheel, and not a lot of power pushing it over, which means if this gets gummed up at all with anything, it'll just stop turning. That's why you're not supposed to lubricate this. But it looks pretty good. If this had been used and reset a whole lot, you'd see a sort of a dimple right here from the reset of that pivot right there, being the wheel being pushed and with the hammer going wham and pushing it that away. It's pretty clean, actually. So I don't think this one saw a lot of use. And there's our hammer. Minute counting wheel. Coupling lever spring, I believe it's called. Okay, so we got that off. Come on. Out we go. Come on. Come on. Oh, you did not want to come out. Come on, come on, come on. Filler wheel screw. Out, out, out. Out, out. A little bit of that S2, but not a lot. But look, even with that little tiny, teeny, tiny amount of hours this thing has, already the lower mainspring arbor port is worn enough that wheel, the ratchet wheel, is beginning to tip over and grind into here. A little bit of rust. Just a little bit. Out, out. There we go. There's your pillar wheel, and it has a little teeny tiny little bearing race ring on the inside of it. Right here. There it is. It goes right there. Okay, the bridge is stripped out. Let's get it off the movement. That's decently tight. Decently tight. Loose. Out, 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 out. Thank you. A little bit of that S2 there. There we go. There's the heart of the movement right there. Skip wheel. And there's your chronograph wheel. Looks okay. Third wheel out. Now we're down to center wheel. Please note on these 21 jewels that this jewel here for the minute counter wheel, upper pinion, it's jeweled. It's not just straight metal. Interesting thing, they chose to jewel that though for their, like, you know, extra cool Japan, let's give extra jewels to stuff, instead of the mainspring arbor port, which it certainly surely would have needed. As we can see, it is already worn. So I don't know what Seiko was thinking, but there we go. There's this S2. That's the lubricant that's inside this stuff. It's this, I believe it's some kind of a graphite. I could be wrong. Let's open this up. Let's see what we see in there. And it's a little worn. I don't know if you can see it, but it's got these sort of dug-in channels there. It's been eaten up some, so it didn't do a lot of work, but yet it's still worn. That's why you gotta clean it all. Get out, out. There's that. Here is there's that. Here's the in your barrel. Now, see if I did it. Ooh, almost. Come on, out we get. Here is mine. This is my watch. Here's the mainspring. It's a little cone. But we can, you know, the thing with these springs is you can tune them. You know, they don't lie flat. They're sort of grinding out one side. You can just, as you're cleaning them, you can pull them, do a little twist and a pull, and you can start to bring them back into flat. It's not hard. You just tune springs. It takes time, but it can be done. So I've got to hand clean that one and tune it. These I have to hand clean. Put those over there. Same with the mainspring arbor. Same with this, though I am going to change that. That's the upper mainspring arbor bushing. I'm going to change that to a jewel. And there's your lower mainspring arbor port. And let's get this flipped around. I like to use this is the movement ring spring. I like to use it when I'm pulling these apart because it's designed to hold the main plate firmly, and it continues to do that in a movement holder, just like that. Okay, let's get the top off. So what happens with these, you remember this one is misaligned. This is a very thin aluminum, anodized aluminum plate, and it can turn. It's on this star wheel here. So it can turn. So what happens is you have to basically index this. You turn this on this to get it aligned, and then you have to kind of flatten this out using a staking set. Once you're sure it's exactly where you need to be, you just go boink and pop it down, and hopefully it stays where it's supposed to be. Don't worry, folks. I found it. It's right here. But if I'd lost it, I have other ones. This wheel's pretty okay. You have to look at these to see if they're warped up off that. That's another problem, because if these are really thin aluminum, and if they warp, you start getting all these other problems. And it's hard to make them good. Okay, hey, we got some kind of dirty in here. What the heck was going on in here? What happened in there? Oh, it looks like we had sort of a blob of S2. This is the top. That's the mainspring arbor. That's the lower mainspring arbor port. And we could see that its stuff is working out of here. And it got onto the back of the day wheel. That is really weird. I can't remember the last time I saw that. So this is the thing I'm doing now, is I'm taking off what is known as the date dial guard. That's going to require some hand cleaning. Get that S2 off of there. Get out. Hand cleaning. So here, looking at this now, you see that is the date corrector lever. You push in that lever, and it clicks this wheel forward. Just like that. Now we can remove it. I don't need it. Out. This is the jumper spring for the date wheel. Arrow wheel, intermediary, date driving wheel. This is the date driving wheel. That's dia fix. That's one of the other special jewels that these 21 jewel models have. So I'm going to take that cap jewel out. I do that off screen because those tend to go kapoink. Let's get this. This is the minute wheel bridge. Let's get that off of there. Yeah, this doesn't look like it's ever been opened or messed with. Let me get that off. Your date corrector finger. These sometimes, if the system is gummed up, these C-shaped things, they get pushed backwards and they kind of open up. This one looks a little like it's been gummed up some, but ha! Speaking of gummy, wow! I shouldn't have to do that. It's got some hours on it. This is early enough that all this stuff is metal. That's a two-piece metal construction. Later ones were just single-piece molded plastic. And they work fine. They work fine. It's a reasonable use of the material. It works. Cannon pinion. Center wheel. Again, this is probably not the right way to do this. This is how I do it. Using an X-Acto is probably not the right tool. It's the tool I'm used to using. So rather than try to do things in a new, special, fancy way, I use the ways that I'm used to thinking. And there's your cap jewel right there. For your diafix. Good. You can tell those are different when you're looking at them really closely because they're thicker. Now, what I tried to do. I put those back in where they go. It's easiest. Because then you don't have to worry about where they went, because those springs, oh, believe me, they can fly off into nowhere and you'll never see them again. And they're also really easy to bend. You just got to be careful, got to be slow. Slow and careful, slow and careful. Okay, so there it is. There you go. There's your main plate. Everything is all stripped out. Now we're down to, we're going to hand clean all this stuff. I gotta pull the old gaskets out of these like that. Hand clean the mainspring stuff. I've got to do the lower mainspring arbor port. This I have to find a special home for, so I know where it is, and that's it. So then I have to machine this out, put in the upper and lower jewels, and clean it up. So there you go. Full disassembly of a JDM Speedtimer proof resistant mismatch, and I'm still not sure about it, but there we go. Okay,